Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the original answers at 5 here, and basically that from the similar pictures and paintings that I want to put together right here. That if anybody has been able to visit the art store, but talk about for original answers 5. And you have right here the example right here of some classmates right here from where I was talking about from original answers 5 was talking about for me as well as designs and it using mobile phone connections right here. But I also want to talk about for like meetings and as well as for automatically, for like words or rephrases as well as for automatically. And if anybody were to be adjusted or if they were to be used to knowing about if they were familiar with the Adobe Creative Cloud, then they would know the basics about how it works, about the programs that that you're needed to be installed on the computer on the system, and as well as how well that you know the account especially. But I mainly want to talk about for automatically. And so you have right here, I went ahead and reworked a test right here. It is supposed to be like a multiple choice question test right here. Is to where you have right here is with this right here will be example right here of like anybody say one of your classmates, or maybe if it's the daughter or somebody that you're in class with or something like that. But have right here's the picture I went and drew right here. If this was right here was supposed to be an example right here of like a meeting room. So while I was drawing this, I didn't spend a whole lot of time knowing about really about who in this meeting room is supposed to be bigger or smaller, or that which one is supposed to what you call have what you call that for who is going to be what you call that that what you call that the big muscle like type person, or anybody who's going to be 5'7" or maybe 6 foot or something. But this was right here was the example right here of me, and like if I were to be in a meeting room with like maybe 3 or 4 other people, and like I say that if you're going to be connecting with them maybe in different states, and for like anybody I'd probably say that about meetings though, that do you enjoy going to meetings, and if you were to had to go to a meeting for any particular reason. But I'm like, yeah, it's, I guess, if it's involved like maybe any source, a job offer or a review or something like that. But like with anybody, we'll probably say with most meetings, they would ask you questions, and sometimes, even if it's a doctor's appointment, that they would ask you questions. And I don't, I guess if we would probably say that, are these a lot of times, are they like test questions, or are they just what you call reviews, just to make sure that everything based on it, their information that they have copies on file is most recent accurate, from what you're telling them. And so for any job interviews, or if it's going to be any sorts of test results, to where they would ask you questions, and some of them could be maybe true and false questions. So let's just say that if we were given like a multiple choice type test right here, but then they later on that they would give you like a true and false type question right here, and if they're related to your case or like for what's going on. But you have right here is the question goes by as to what does it mean for like automatic. It's like for automatically, for something to be automatically done. And I can zoom in a little bit right here, but you see right here is this these questions I went and wrote right here is for what is automatic done, and for like a word how we want to phrase it is to where that what does it usually mean whenever something's done automatically, or to be automatically processed, or that's something that's done automatically. And the answers I would gave right here would be like a multiple choice, is to where that work taken care of, processed, B for processed, is C for step free forward, and we could also maybe use this to where that the free step forward, and then for program to take time anywhere, E for anytime anywhere, and an F for sign up, and then the new service, and then to explain. So for most, and I want to go ahead and some of the Photoshop work right here that I went in, but I wrote about sentences right here to just kind of explain a little bit about automatically used services. And you have right here for meeting at 5 o'clock. And while I was working in Photoshop, I kept thinking about, well, if we can all see this right here. And really, if we only had about maybe 30 seconds or to a minute, just to answer some of the questions. And really, though, that if anybody were to be remembering being tested on some of the stuff, that if they can remember all about the fact about is to where that whenever they time you, does that basically mean is to where that that they are what you call it seems like that they are putting more pressure on you and your mind you just to be able to get through the test a little bit more quicker about if there's going to be about 47 questions and they only give you about maybe an hour and 30 minutes to 40 minutes just to be able to complete a test. But let's just say that if the questions remain as to where that they ask you a question, explain here, okay, well, good. Please provide the details here, and I'm sure most of us, if we've gone to the doctors, that they ask you questions about what's the reason for your visit, and then they give you about maybe 3 or 4 lines or so at the very bottom, or on the right or the left, or in the next page of the form that they ask you to fill out. Please explain your visit, and are you taking any medications, and so that a lot of time, if we want to call like we call it for original answers, a lot of the subject matters that I'm talking about are for like job related or for use of the Creative Cloud. But if anybody were to say as to where what would the original answers would usually be as to where that let's just say that if it was pharmacy related or anything about automobiles or maybe about that if anybody probably say that if it's maybe related to contract reasons or that it could also maybe be for tax reasons and then as well for any other source or reason and that I know that like if you were to go online that you would maybe find all kinds of frequently asked questions about related to any other source of subject and topics, but I mainly want to talk about as to where what we call for automatically done, and I know that that's something that I went and stated on my portfolio as well, is toward it anything for what we call automatically done, and think about it as toward that if you were to talk about something and it's like for 12 hours from now this is what's going to be going on. So we may say that almost all the time. We may hear that, of course, almost all the time as to where whenever you're trying to get something done, it takes time, it takes time, it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, but really, we can also think about as to where what is going to happen within the next 2 hours from now. So it seems like to where that, something that maybe, if you want to probably say is to where it's something that maybe you can do at your own time. Is that something that you want to see done? It seems like sometimes anybody will probably say that if you really want to see something, to be done, and you're just going to have to do something, you're just going to have to do something, your way. But still, that if anybody say that, beside like what I usually call a backup plan, but a type of plan to where it was an idea and anything that you're thinking is to where if it's going to really get you anywhere. So you have something that it's going to maybe work, but it's just going to cause to where it's going to take what you call that matter a moment to where that okay, do you want to go any further with this or that? Well, what was going on with that? But still, though, that if the subject matter was to where if you have a meeting at 5 o'clock and that's Central Time, if anybody say, if it's Eastern Time, if the meeting starts at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, and then on Central Time, you like go by the time for Central Time as well as for Western Time and then Mountain Time. But with the questions, I don't know if we can see this right here or if we can read this very well, but I know I can, since I wrote it, I can say is what means you're scheduling the program, saying, well, so, knowing about the operation service and then navigating the free step forward, and then for what needs to be done as well as for the process, the best of knowing, for who the person is, and if we're knowing about how the way the professional works at the use of the program, and the data that is used and then goes by at a time worth of, for how we program the site, just to be able to do stuff automatically, and then for the actions that we need to take during the site and the manage for how it is used, the service. So basically that if we were to ask as to what does it usually mean for something that's done automatically, for anything automatically processed. And how many of us are going to maybe agree is that the program to take action, and basically that automatic response, or if it's something that's done automatically, and action that's done action that is done immediately. So let's just say that something that's done, and do we kind of call it as to where if that's the program that's doing it, or if it's like anything about automatic response. So that if anybody will warrant toward it, that for what we call automatically done, that that whenever we sign something that they may say is toward it, you don't have to bother to put the date and then the time on there, because that's automatically printed on the form that you're signing electronically in most electronic services nowadays. And most electronic files that they ask for a signature, but you don't have to worry about you printing the date and then the time each and every time, because that maybe not always that's always something that you may forget at times, but still that maybe that the program is automatically going to print that. And even if it's going to be Eastern time, and let's just say if you're Central time or Mountain time. So I mean, you can think about basic requirements, but if anybody will warrant to where that anything related to what is done automatically, and we may say as to where is it a free step forward, or is like programmed to take action, anytime, anywhere, or for just the use of the new service. And I can tell anybody here that sometimes it seems like it's all about the use of the new service, but I also think it's toward the program to take action, to where that for how well that you program, how well that you schedule something ahead of time, and then the information that's need to be collected as well. So still, though, that for what is automatically done, just to be able to make for great progress, but for anything that's scheduled ahead of time, but it may not be scheduled ahead of time too. So if I say that, based on these sorts of design work, and you have these people right here that are going to be meeting up with you, and especially in a meeting room, but for anything about what we call for original answers. The original answer would be as to where, you got a meeting at, if you had a meeting at 5 o'clock, but let's just say if it starts at 11 o'clock, do you have to wait until 11 o'clock just for, to get everything ready for the meeting, and then just to be able to meet up with some people there at the meeting. So I can remember this back whenever I was young, that it was like, that if you just want to sit around, in the meeting room for about, say for about an hour, and you don't really say anything unless it's somebody talks to you and asks you a question. And sometimes if anybody say that, after about maybe 15-20 minutes that they start talking about something, and then they start talking to you, like, are you talking to me? Yeah. Like say you are in the meeting room, aren't you? Like, well, yeah, but of course it's like this is related to your case, ain't it? But still, though, that if you're going to be in the meeting room, and let's just say that at this people that you may know in the meeting room already, or that somebody that you have may not met before, about two of them that you may just be meeting for the first time, and maybe two of them that you already have met before. Maybe you were in class with them at one time, and they say is that one of them could maybe be the counselor or the doctor or anybody, but let's just say that they start talking to you about some things, and it's like, say, that you didn't do very well on a test, or can you share your screen with me, and so that way we can go over the results. And so that's just a thing as to where that whenever you're going to be in the meeting room, especially like on programs like if it's going to be WebEx or any other sorts of programs that have it to where you can share your information with the person that you're meeting with, and tell them about introducing about something new that about their database, anything like that. But anyway, but talk about that, and then I also want to talk about it here, for home. So how many of us are say that you're going to have access to this stuff at home. And you're saying, are you going to have to pay about $25 a week just to be able to have access to it at home? And some may say that that seems to be not fair. And that seems to be no fair to have to pay more just to have access to it at home. But on the average, this is the same picture that I used for the Gold Monument, but still, that this example right here of this house right here that I went ahead and worked with on Photoshop, and so let's just say that if anybody say that, yeah, you have an upstairs floor and then you have a downstairs floor and you have a basement. If anybody will want a tour, that they ask questions to where and they go into a meeting and then it's like they tell you, yeah, it's upstairs and it's upstairs in the meeting room 250. Like I say, well, how do you get upstairs? Well, where's the stairs to get upstairs? So it's like one tour, and if you walk into a building or by say that, yeah, that especially in your own home, you're like one tour that whenever you go into your home, and sometimes if it's a little bit harder just to find some things and try to get used to the fact about if you got stairs in your home, and like say, yeah, well, where's the kitchen? Oh, that's downstairs. Well, how do you get downstairs? You go downstairs, or you go upstairs. Where's your office? Oh, it's upstairs. Office and the bedroom. Well, in the bathroom, the master bedroom. I'm like, oh, that's upstairs. Well, how do you get upstairs? Well, go upstairs and you'll be able to get upstairs. So, but anyway, but say for $25 a week that I could say is to where to have a number of access to office edition of programs or anything like that from your computer. And let's just say that if you're going to be tested on anything from home, and chances are that that you're going to be paying a little bit more for it just to have access to it at home. And compared to driving to your company or something like that. But anyway, you have right there's the home, and you have right here's the test. And I also want to talk about here for like digital designing. So I'm sure most of us have seen right here from besides the meeting room, but you have right here for New Year's. So this right here will be a painting that I went and drew and then painted on Photoshop of these couples right here. So if anybody will want to tour that anything about what you call love and romantic relationships, that really that about maybe 30% of all professionals and all workers are maybe going to meet somebody in particular, maybe from a job, and especially on New Year's. That just think about as to where about how much progress that we come along so far as to where that the original answers as to where that how did you meet this person? How did you meet this woman or this man? And just think about as to where that you may have met this person while you were in class, and at some point that this person kind of gave you that look as to where that anything you can do I can do better, or that that you may not have gotten along with them at first there for a while until that until they got to know you just a little bit more. So it seems like it's all about as to where that how many problems and situations that you're able to solve during the time that they get to know you a little bit more. So whenever you met this person that it seemed like to where that they may say is to where that for anything about for what that they were in the meeting room for, or anything that they were being tested on. And let's just say that it could maybe be something related to that they ordered something and they wanted to pick up their order, but then something else came up to where, okay, well, here's your order. Well, I'm not done yet. I'm like, well, what's your name? How long have you been working here for? So it seems like, yeah, whenever your first customer that they, besides picking up what they ordered, that they want to know just a little bit more about this person in particular. So, well, how long have you been working here for? Like, well, you may say as to, well, what does it matter? Well, well, why? Like, well, I'm just curious, but anyway, but you have right there is for New Year's that one of the drawings that I drew right here talking about for like New Year's. And if anybody will want to where that you want to go ahead and include that right there is to where that And you probably say that about every year, especially on New Year's, that people, maybe couples, maybe a girl or maybe anybody in particular, that you say that that's just a whole part about being grown up, ain't it? About being a professional, is to where the original answer is to where that this person has met you a number of times. Ever since they were young, that they were interested in the same similar, professional job industry, and they connected with you somehow, and so it seems like it's to where whenever you meet this person in person, it seems like to where that what exactly was this person interested in, what exactly were they looking for, and it seems like to where that they were what you call classmates at one time, but then just thinking about it is to where that since they were young, that this is the type of stuff that they were also interested in, or that maybe whenever they were young, that they had a different interest until that they were interested in this other source of career also. But the original answer would be as toward that you were a student at one time, and then it's like just think about it as toward it on 1 year, on especially on New Year's, that this person just knew a little bit more about you, especially. And so what do we call these romantic situations to where that this person, this girl that may have met you at some point, or this guy that may have met the girl at some point, if it was maybe related to a job. So let's just say that if they show up to a meeting and they say is to where that I'm here to pick up my order, anything about job related is to where that this was not on the job description, or the original answer could be as to where that I really that if you're looking for experience, well, guess what? I don't have it. So it seems like to where what we call that for whenever that something else comes up to where that it's a problem that needs to be fixed, or that there's more detail that needs to be provided. That somebody else is asking you for something that you don't have, and then you may say as to where I have nothing. Don't be looking. Don't expect me to have the answer to that because I don't have it. I don't have anything. Like, well, maybe you have something, and knowing about as to where that for anything that you may find useful also. And you say that how confident are you with using this electronic file, and as well as for Adobe programs, and one of those would be as to where Adobe eSign. How many times have you used it? Like, well, just to get some practice with it, I probably used it quite a few times. But of course, that was not related to the dating source, or anybody say that how many of us are going to use it for prom reasons or for dating sources? And it seems like that seems to be a little bit out of the question as toward it. Really, if there's any meeting related to any source of dating, to where that you were supposed to meet this person at the restaurant, they were supposed to talk to you about the job opportunity. And so with a lot of stuff that we may see on those movies of some sort, it's like that just as friends, I would like to meet with you at 4 o'clock, to talk to you about the promotion, about the job, and a little bit more about your online experience. And then it's like, you mean just the two of us in the same meeting room, online, as well as sharing our same computers and talking about stuff? I'm like, just the two of us, but just friends, right? Just as friends, we'll talk about the promotion. And so if anybody were to say that, who said anything about promotion, because I'm not qualified because I failed the test. But still, though, that and I got this a lot, and I know I talked about it quite a bit, is toward it if you start talking about something, and then it's like your handwriting is very small, but still, that is it neat, and is it understandable? But for multiple choice questions, most of those multiple choice questions would be does that necessarily eliminate the need to write down your own answers? And anybody say that if they give you about 3 or 4 lines to provide, just to be able to provide your own answers, if you like to rephrase the answer a little bit, just a little bit more, for more details, And somebody would maybe say is that just to rephrase it, that they want to make sure that you're not copy and pasting it multiple times. They want to they want to get feedback from the person who's taking the test or the actual person, or that the response. You've already provided the required response, and now we want to know a little bit more about what's called the feedback material. In your own words, can you rephrase this question as to where that say, what do you think the automatically done means? Besides what you see right here. Well, I think it really means is to where that, for how much, before you want to ask me, before you want to receive 15 or 20 minutes more of my time and ask me additional questions. I just really think, though, is to where that, if you go ahead and provide, the amount of information that you have, and plus keeping everything updated, and as well as answering a few more questions, I am sure that, for what needs to be on a scale between a 1 and 10 for what you call what is done automatically. And what is done automatically? Well, chances are is to where that showing great progress. That if you're willing to work hard to work towards your achievement, to where that what is done automatically for this free step forward. That really that if there's something to where that matches to where what's required and what's qualified, then chances are that anybody probably say that. All this means is to where that the less work and the possibility that something's going to be forgiven, or something that's going to be automatically done for you, or they're going to say is to where, okay, you can go and waive off that meeting, or you can go and disregard that. You don't have to worry about it now. Like, so if anybody will warn to her a little bit about that, is to where that the stuff that you had to take care of from earlier, that they may say is to where that for anything that you were working on, and if it's going to be the meeting. If the meeting went very well, and as well as for how well that you did on the test, maybe after the 5th time, that is to where that, you don't have to worry about going to that meeting, or you don't have to worry about that $25 a week. It's already taken care of, but still, it's just like say, well, did I get the job? Well, that's still being, in the process, but still, that we want to ask you some more questions and talk about any other sorts of possibilities as well. But I want to show anybody, this will be on my art store, but similar thing, for what, for about 400 pixels, for 4,000 pixels right here, for the mobile phones, and from 4 of talking about for designing as well as working the puzzle pieces, but nowadays they have these programs to where that they can send out messages to our text phones here, and you're like wearing to where that anything in particular that for what a designer does, and let's just say that if there's going to be anything used about maybe like a text code, like a code that you can send to other people's phones. And let's just say that if you train if these two classmates, like age 4, that back whenever you were 4 years old, that you may not know a whole lot about how all this works, but if anybody were to say this, especially on the weekends, would you take a little bit more time just to study a little bit more about it, about the original answers, as to where that you don't want to bother to write a paper or two or look at the multiplication table, but maybe you want to take time to looking at something that that you can use just to be able to talk to your friends, your classmates, and if anything, that I can tell anybody that points that you may have earned, but maybe about each week that you get paid for an allowance, that what do you think that you would spend the money on? And you may say that maybe a deck of cards, or maybe something that you would like to play with, maybe it's something that you would like to have, to learn, especially at home, and anybody that may say besides a video game, that you say, yeah, a calculator. I'm like, how many of us wanted a calculator whenever we were 4 or maybe 10 years old, and especially one of those fancy kinds? And you say that a lot of reasons could be is to where that just to be able to configure the math math quizzes, the math solutions, math problems and stuff. with a certain way, for how you want to enter it into the calculator. But still, though, that if anybody say that no cheating materials are allowed, but let's just say that with this calculator, that the calculator were to keep save the information that you studied, within a certain time of the hour. And I don't know if all phones do that, to where that phones that most of us are going to have, like it's a certain style model phone. How many of us are going to maybe do the studies about for original answer? Have a calculator with you, then it's not going to be the answers that are provided in that calculator are not coming from the device itself. It's coming from the person who actually programmed that calculator to provide the answer, and then the information that's programmed to that calculator is transmitted to these other people here that need copies of that information. So the way that how the service is used, and as well as for how it's transmitted, and it's how it's used and how it's copied, that for knowing about the basic tools about digital software, especially. And for this meeting room right here, that if I were to be in the meeting room with about maybe 2 other classmates and maybe one professional and maybe 2 other people on a job, recruit in a job site, from a company, and they may ask you questions, and besides what we call automatically done, and then what we call discover. But for if anybody were to say that you want to hire this other person, and I usually would say is to where that because I'm a hard worker, and on your hand too, that you can maybe say something that maybe not be on your resume, is to where nearly 100% of those ideas came from my own perspective. So it's like anybody probably say that they're not copied from a book. They came from my own point of creative mind. So if you want a designer capable of developing great ideas, I'm the person, because I come up with a number of ideas, and that I'm sure that they are useful. They are useful, and I work hard to make them useful to other people who want to make these things such as useful. And if anybody were to say is toward it, do you put a lot of hard work into your design work? And yes, I do. I put in a lot of hard work, and like anybody probably say, if it becomes to be a disappointment, and then you'll see what you can do about correcting that. But other than that, what would the original answers would be? And besides, for multiple choice, but anything about which call automatically processed. But if we would ask the questions to where that what is going to be going on within the next 12 hours from now, and it could also be as to where paperwork was turned in, anything that you faxed to the office, yep, it was received, and it's waiting to be processed. So in the next 12 hours from now, a number of things could happen, but let's just say that if anybody were to probably say is that, what are you going to say whenever somebody's son or daughter, or maybe somebody's grandchild, or somebody's cousin that took interest in what you do as a designer? I say that this right here, yeah, this is me right here, and I'm sure most of us have seen this already, but that would be my profile image right here. Talk about for original answers. And so this right here will be my image right here, and if anybody were to say that they were to look for me, for Matthew Jean McGuire right here, age 32, and coming up around the summertime, I'll be updating that too. But it says to where, yeah, that if you want to go ahead and maybe change the color a little bit, maybe add some special effects in there as well. And but still, though, it's called pre-test and examinations that for what we call for multiple choice. What is done automatically. And if anybody were to say that for how well that you do, it seems like, and this was the free step forward to where how much that you're willing to come in progress, how much ability that you're willing to come in progress, so far as showing up for a job interview, or taking the time to complete an application, as well as the time and how it's handled, and as well as for how other people get to know your work especially. And if you want to rephrase that question as to where that I may not be professional, but I am very creative. And say, for how creative are you? I am that creative as to where that that it came by the standard basic rule to where that I was for right now that I had limitations to where that all my work that I was only allowed one piece and then 3 ideas. Whenever I start working those pieces and one piece and 3 ideas, and then it became about 15 more ideas. So it seems like to where anybody would say that this was not, from the original, resume, from the original portfolio, something that maybe not anybody has seen before, then that's whenever that the whole, what you call it, the meeting goes on, to where that it seems like that's what's required. Something that maybe somebody has not seen before, and they really become extremely curious about it. This was not, in the job description, or this was not in the original script. What's this all about? So if it was not in the original, then chances are, what is the original answer for that? And it says to where we need some more information about this, and that's like, but still, like what anybody would probably say is. They would maybe thinking as to where that I didn't think that you really even cared, to be honest with you, and knowing about what's this or what's that. But anyway, really, don't judge anything before you know it, huh? Don't judge something before you know it, even though that this may look like a button right here, picture buttons messing around, but just push button online. But other than that, talking about your original answers 5, I'm talking about that with these classmates right here, and let's just say that that anything about what a professional does is that whenever you were first introduced to the job, they may have told you about is toward that you can go in and start your meeting here, online, and receive text alerts. And let's just say that if anybody will warrant toward it, how did you get my number? Well, it's a long story, but I found it. So if anybody probably think as to where that's one of the reasons about most of our profiles. Most of our profiles would maybe likely say is that anything, maybe anything confidential, but let's say that between a home address, if they want to mail you something, or that that they want to email you something, and then they start talking about maybe something that happened nearly 8 weeks ago, and it's like, well, congratulations, you're on your new position. We want to inform you about updates that's going on in your portfolio and as well as on your job resume. And then this is what's going to be going on these next couple of days. That we want you to introduce you to some new software. And so they start talking about a few things that you don't understand about what they're talking about. And it's like, despite from that meeting that you had back on in February of the 10th or so, on that Tuesday or Wednesday, and despite from the test. And from the test results, and then as well as the GPA scores, and as well as anything that's reported on your resume ever since the New Year's. Congratulations on your new position. And if anybody will warrant where to, I'll go ahead and real quickly here. I know think about the time too. The close up right here about this $15 a week, but let's just say that if anybody were to say that whenever you do wind up getting a job for what you do. Then the chances are that they say congratulations on the new job, and they may say is to where a lot of the stuff that you were working on and that was planned, and say is to where that they might say is to where that you don't have to worry about that, because since you got the job, you just got to make sure that you come to that meeting. At 11 o'clock or at 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock whenever it starts, and then 11 o'clock is whenever they start wrapping it up. Whenever it's over with, and like with anybody that they may warrant to where that you thought the test was over with, but no, that don't mean, of course, that the jobs. I say anything for what we call it's been over with for a very long time, for about a year, but still that just think about the things that are not over with yet. You still got more work to do, even though after you graduate and then after the meeting, just knowing about the basics about being a professional, and then knowing about for maybe not everything is going to be easy, but your original answers will be as to for how other people know you work best. But other than that, basic understanding, right? But does hard work really pay off, huh? Does hard work really help others understand a little bit more about you and how they connect with you, and just think about it as to where the moment, if we want to call it the moment of silence, to where that how other people know a little bit more about you and your work of study about being a designer. But Other than that, thanks for watching, everyone. Happy learning, and have right here for original answer for 4,000 pixels was for the mobile phone design right there. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.